Man, I am good. Thank you very much for jumping on as well, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now live. Welcome to the Man United live. This is just it's the first of many. We're going to be doing a podcast with myself, my very good friend T Ray, aka Tez, aka Terry Weeks. How you doing, bro? How you
I'm not
doing,
too bad.
brother? Thank
Not
you
too
very
bad
much for joining
yourself.
me, man. Yeah, man. Obviously, sorry about that technical difficulties. I think Mr. Vader was interrupting our stream here, wasn't he? I think something like that.
Probably, yeah, man. Probably,
You know what
probably.
I mean?
Yeah, man.
Do you know what? I've been wanting, guys, been wanting to get this man on for quite some time, and the main reason he hasn't been on is because I stopped streaming for a long time, so that's got something to do with it. But
It's disappeared, man.
yeah, I know, man, I know. No more, bro. I'll tell you that. We've got a bit to try and get through today. We're going to be looking at basically the impact of many of our players, i.e., Mr. Greenwood, where he's gone or where he hasn't gone, his performances. We're going to be looking at Donny van de Beek, his impact, Edinson Cavani's impact, Bruno Fernandes' impact, and then we're going to be touching on some of the transfers as well. Has Man United's transfer policy changed, or is it just masked over? We're going to discuss that as well. Tez, I wanted to start off with realistically, before we go into the title challenge thing, I wanted to just touch on Donny van de Beek and how you feel his performances have been or not been. Opportunities, has he warranted opportunities? Has he not? What's your thoughts on the impact or lack of impact Donny van de Beek's made?
Well, in regards to his whether he deserves that opportunity, I think how he played for Ajax shows us why we bought him.
Yeah.
Um, so I think he's earned the right to come to United, but at the moment he hasn't really been given much of a run, has he? In all fairness, he's
True.
been
It's a
an
good point.
unused sub for so many times. When he has come on, it's been 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. I don't think he's been given a proper run.
No, it's a good point. Why do you think?
It
Why
didn't.
do you
It
think
didn't
that
look
is
too
though?
bad. It didn't look too bad against Everton when he started.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if was he a panic buy. Did they think that Pogba was out the door? I don't know.
Well, on that, some people have been suggesting that he was bought because Pogba was or is on his way out and he's the replacement. But you would have thought that if that's the case, he would have been getting a bit more, minutes or
Well, yeah,
played.
exactly,
You would
exactly.
have thought, but that's not been the case. And I mean, was it an Ollie signing? Was it a Woodward signing? I don't get it. It's a bit of a strange one.
No, it couldn't have been a Woodward sign. It was too quick.
That's a very good point. That's a very good, and we're going to touch on that a bit later on with regard to the transfer and now seemingly new transfer policy as well. But I kind of feel like his very first game or first two games looked pretty impressive. His touches looked assured. He looked like he had the sort of like the eye for the through ball and whatnot. Intricate passes. Looks like he once got an half goal as well. But since then, it seems like obviously because of lack of opportunities, his confidence levels, understandably so, has gone down. How does that? How do we go about getting his confidence back and obviously his performances as well?
Just gotta get him on the field, don't we? In all fairness, I mean, he did show, as you said in his first couple of games, he did show that he can actually play midfield.
Yeah, and that's an
Yeah,
important
he's
number
got to look
six.
for a pass. He's got to look for a pass, but obviously he can help at back. He can help in the back and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Maybe a better version of Fred if he's given the chance.
Interesting, very interesting there because Fred is a bit of a he's a sort of jack of all, master of none. I'd say in terms of Fred,
Yeah,
he's
and he's
in
always
terms of
got a
yeah.
mistake in him.
Unfortunately, he tries his heart out, bless him, but
Yeah,
does he suit our setup? Is he good enough for our starting 11? I should say he's good enough maybe for the squad, yeah, Fred. But in terms of starting 11, I would say probably not. What do you reckon to Scott McTominay and McSauce? That one wasn't on the topic, but what do you reckon to McTominay as well?
but Tomine,
Yeah,
I think he can um, do a job. I think he could do like a Darren Fletcher type of job. Um, be a squad player. If he plays like he did the other day, he could be a first. first team starter all the time.
So where did that come from, Tez? That performance, I've not seen that in him at all, not one bit.
I don't know, maybe somebody's giving him a kick up the arse and said it's time to, perform. You want to be a Man United player, be a Man United player. In all fairness, maybe he looked at himself and thought that position is there to take. Because as you said, Fred he's inconsistent in
Very, very, very.
Matic is old, but he's aging. We've sent the young lad on loan, Ghana.
James Garner, yeah.
Van der Beek is
Who seems to
spending
be
a lot of
doing
time
all
on the
right.
bench.
Yeah.
And Pogba doesn't know whether he's in Spain or he's in Man U or he's at Italy. Don't know where he is.
Or France, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So, we will touch on Pogba as well, though, T-Way. Don't you worry. We
man,
will
we ain't
touch
got enough
on
time
Pogba. For those you don't know, Terry is let's say not the biggest fan of Paul Pogba, and I have to say his reasoning is very, very fair. But I'm kind of one of those half-blind supporters of Paul Pogba, unfortunately. But we will just touch on that one as well. Before we get anywhere near that, I did want to ask you about Mason Greenwood this season. He's had starts, he's had opportunities. His performances haven't been the same as last season, even though there was a very quick turnaround in terms of last season to this season. What do you reckon his dip in performances has been down to?
Probably his shoot to fame at such a young age. I mean, I know Michael Owen. I hate talking about Liverpool players, but I know he took it well. But it's a different game these days, and they've got their agents from the age of 6 telling them they're great.
It's very true.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just I think he's had a bit of an eye opener, especially what happened at England, and he's just got to get over it now.
Yeah, that in itself, I mean, with regards to the England situation, that was a really strange one. So Phil Foden's since been back in the squad. Obviously, he's been doing well at City from, all intents and purposes, but Greenwood hasn't exactly lost his ability. He's still, what is he, 19? And you're thinking he's just a shot away from score. If he gets his shot off, more than likely he's going to score a goal, left or right foot. I don't think Greenwood is to be one of those people that plays really well every single game. I think it's just a case of if he's on the pitch, get in an opportunity or into an area where he can affect the game, maybe.
Yeah. Well, like people like Andy Cole and Van Nistelrooy, they didn't play like wicked every game, but they was in that box and they at least got a goal. They got a 6 out of 10, but they still got a goal.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's what it's all about. You put the ball in the back of the net. It's a winner.
I've been hearing, he is wanting to now play centrally. What have you heard about that, and what's your thoughts on that as well?
Well, Martial come out and said he wants to play centrally, and he got his chance. So I can't see why Greenwood can't have the same.
Yeah, very good point. On the Old Rivals podcast, which I'm going to be hounding you about being on tomorrow as well at 6:30. We tend to then have a little bit of fun with the squads and all that kind of thing as well, and how they line up, what they're going to look like, what they could look like. And my lineup was, I think I had Bruno Fernandes and Mesut Ozil behind him. And Mason Greenwood as the focal point in today's mesh of Arsenal and Manchester United team, purely because I feel like he's the best finisher out of all the strikers and forwards at both clubs. What's your thoughts on that in terms of him being the best finisher in both clubs?
Yeah, he's got kind of a Van Persie thing about him, innit?
What's your name for Mason Greenwood? What's your name for people that?
What's your name for him? Is it Van Greenwood?
Yes, Mason Van Greenwood, and you eloquently coined him. Yeah, no, I completely agree. He's he does have that air of Van Persie about him. Van Persie had a very good right foot as well for people who don't remember. But Greenwood's right foot is something else compared to his left as well, which he's been. We all know about the comparisons in terms of which foot is he, what's his strongest foot, but But I just want to say he's a lot quicker than people realise, stronger than he realises, and he loves to beat a man 1-on-1, as we see with his step overs.
Yeah.
What do you see his future? Obviously, you had Rashford was a winger and is a goal scoring winger now, not necessarily a number nine. Martial was sort of seen as a number nine, but plays well off the left hand side. Greenwood plays well off the right hand side, but is sees himself as a number nine. What, if any, type of direction do you see Mason Greenwood going in? Do you see him as a number nine eventually, or do you see him as best off operate off the right hand side coming in?
I'd like to see him up front before making that choice. In all fairness, I mean, he is good coming off the right. When we was chasing Sancho, I did say, well, we've got Greenwood,
Yeah, yeah.
who can come off the right. Yeah, it'd be nice to see what he can do up the middle before making that choice.
Yeah, and but that's the thing though with Ollie, he seems to have favourites, and regardless how they're playing, he'll
Yeah,
just continue playing them. Obviously, Edinson Cavani has warranted, I think, at least a try at starting, an extended period of starting in the
yeah,
number nine slot at the moment. But obviously, he's 33, going on 34. He's not going to be around for very much longer in terms of long term wise as a starter. So. I feel like Greenwood can learn a lot off him. I'm hopeful that he does and will do, but I don't know. I'm just hoping that he keeps his head down. Whatever mistakes he's made, continue to be in the past, and that's where it remains. But before we move on, there's a comment here made from Football X, sorry, XD. Can we play Shaw centre back? I'll put that question to you then, Tez.
we saw him play centre back, but as part of a three, haven't we?
Yeah,
So left centre back.
yeah.
Uh, he didn't do too bad, but I still think left back. If you're going to play him anyway, it's left back.
Yeah. I can't see him being a long term, let's say, option there over Maguire and Bailly to Nzebe. Lindelof is my last pick there. But yeah, no, I'm in agreement there. I think we've got better options there, but an interesting run. Rush Mano, Borussia Dortmund still need a little time to. Sorry, DVD. That's Donny van der Beek, so not Borussia Dortmund. I thought that was DVD. Donny van der Beek still needs a little time to adjust. Dutch league is not the same intensity as the Prem League. Very good point there. Will he adjust? I think then becomes the question. On our win percentage, another good point, is much better with Fred in the team than not. Interesting one as well. Red Devil Studio, G's in the house. Yo guys, good to see Tez on. Yes, it's been a while. All my fault, I know. And another point that Rush Mono said, plays well when he wants to. I wonder if the Euros are on the horizon or a move. Oh yes, they're both close. So yeah, obviously Rush making the point there. He kind of pulls his finger out when there's a big European competition coming up in the summer months, or if there's a potential move. I can't really say anything against that realistically. As much as I'm a fan of Pogba, just seems like it is the case of as and when, really. What do you have to say about that then, Tez?
Yeah, I seem to think Pogba plays for Pogba. Yeah, as you said, I'm not his biggest fan. I just don't think he can play in a midfield in the Premiership. I think it's too quick for him, and it's too argy-bargy for him. He don't get time, which he needs his time. Yeah, now and again he can pull off a wicked pass, but he does one or two, maybe three a game, and then that's one game
Yeah,
from
yeah.
there. There's
What I think
37 other games, mate.
it's a very good point, and I think one of the interesting points that we need to make everyone aware is that myself and Tez have had a conversation before with regards to Pogba, whereby he ability wise, he's probably second to none in the squad, and who knows, maybe the Prem, I don't know. But ability wise, I see him as being up there. But in terms of what he does with that ability, um, it doesn't weigh up. It's his abilities up there, but his performances is way down there. So yeah, I think that's why he frustrates so many people. Yourself being one of them, Tez,
I
me as
think
well.
what he does to me is when he come back to United, I don't think it was him. It was his agent decided to pick on Paul Scholes and liken him to Paul Scholes. So when I see
Yeah.
Pogba play now, I just I just see
You
Paul
make the
Scholes and I see
comparison.
Pogba, and there's no comparison.
Yeah. I mean, okay, here's one for you then. Bruno said, so I don't know if you've seen the number 8 tattooed on his arm. I think that's the number that his dad wore when his dad played professionally, and that's the
Yeah,
date of his birthday. Number 18 is his wife's birthday, and also the number Paul Scholes wore, and obviously when he was grew up watching Paul Scholes. So in
yeah.
terms of comparisons, in terms of numbers as well, in terms of comparisons, what would you say in that regard for Paul Scholes and Bruno Fernandes comparisons? I know that's huge, but what would you say in terms of that?
They have a few comparisons. They've got a range of passing. They can both unlock a defence. Um, yeah, whenever you gave it to Scholes, you knew it was either going out wide to Bex or
Yeah, true.
it was going low and hard, and it was finding Van Nistelrooy, Rooney's or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And Fernandez, Bruno just the same. He's always looking for Rashford, or he's going out wide to Wan-Bissaka. So yeah, and at the back, when they go in the midfield, they can't really play there, but they try.
yeah. It's a good point.
Uh,
They do try. They do
yeah,
try.
they do try. At least they try.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to make a point, and obviously is the reason for this podcast is pretty much now Bruno Fernandes, his impact since he's come in, and also the impact Cavani is making, and increasingly so. Now, I just wanted to share something with everyone. So just going to put the screen share on. Tell me if you can see this, Tez. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an interesting one with regards to how Bruno Fernandes stacks up stats wise since he's joined against what's his name, Kevin De Bruyne. So Kevin De Bruyne, and this is just Premier League. So 18 starts, 3 sub appearances, 8 goals and 11 assists. Obviously, it breaks it down in terms of free kick scored and penalties scored as well, and then obviously minutes per goal and so on and so forth. Bruno Fernandes is 24 games, 23 starts, 1 sub appearance, 15 goals, 11 assists, 1 free kick and 7 penalties.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you take the penalties away from Bruno, it's still pretty impressive in his level with Kevin De
De
Bruyne.
Bruyne. Yeah.
Obviously Kevin De Bruyne has scored 4 penalties, so it kind of really is. There is no kind of other than the assists, and obviously Bruno's played a few more games. Other than that, Bruno absolutely smashes it. You take the
Yep.
penalties away from both. Yeah, it's still a very successful sort of stat line there. So what's your thoughts in terms of that then?
Well, it's nice. So always nice to beat someone in the blue, isn't
It
it?
is, mate. It is
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. It just shows how much of an influential player he is for us, and it showed the game when him and Rashford are off. How much we rely
Yeah,
on them two players. You know, I mean,
huge.
they are getting a good bit of a telepathic thing going on, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right. No, you're
Yeah.
right though. With their goals tally as well.
Yeah, it's a seeing Bruno beating De Bruyne. Yeah, that looks good.
In any stat line, and it says.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks good.
No, I agree. I'd like to see now. Cavani seems to be working his way into the starting lineup more and more and more each game. I'm predicting that he will be starting against Wolves tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um, the games he plays, he affects, whether it's off the bench or starting. Whenever he plays, he affects the game in a positive way. Now, as the title also suggests, is Cavani the key to us winning the title this season? Before you answer that, I did want to jump in on one of the comments that Jonathan Reeder says. Title is anyone's this season. We need to buy in January. We're in the shout. Cavani is still class. Hope he signs a 1-year extension. Great attitude. Now the attitude comment there, that is huge for me. Attitude is massive for me in terms of players, and that's why one of the reasons why you're not Pogba's biggest fans in terms of attitude.
Yeah.
I feel like between Bruno and Cavani, there's potential for them to take us to the title. What's your thoughts on Cavani's impact and potential title run?
Yeah, I'd like to see him play more games, more minutes. When we did sign him, I was a little bit dubious because, we Falcao, and he didn't do too well at United. Top goal scorer, didn't really do too well.
Yeah.
And I've always said the Premiership sorts out world class players.
From that.
You can see through the Shevchenkos and
yeah.
I'm sure Pogba's saying the same thing as well. If he was to be honest, honestly, he won't because he's not honest like that, is
he? You see this, guys. Tez will not leave Pogba alone at all.
But I think his goal scoring, his record just speaks for himself. You know what I mean? If he can replicate that in the Premiership, and he's got players like Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood doing a running for him, then as long as he's sticking the ball in the back of that net, he can do it every once in all fairness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's paid for.
Yeah. I completely agree.
As for the title, it'd be nice that if we just get that centre back, because as many as Cavani, Rashford, and Co are going to smash in, it's no good if we're letting two at the back.
Yep, 23, I think. We've let in this season, which obviously, as you said, is no good to us. I think we're 14th in the league in terms of goals conceded, which is obviously horrendous for our title challenge. Let's just jump on this comment as well from Benjamin Tunga. What's going, Benjamin? Thanks for joining us. What's your opinion on Marshall up front this season, lads? He don't look his clinical self, but his hold up play is good. We used to slag Liverpool fans off on, obviously, in terms of Firmino getting enough goals for a centre forward. What's your comments on that then? Because obviously he's not banging in the goals this season. Performances haven't been the best. However, he does play crucial parts sometimes in the tiki-taka football and the hold-up play, as Benjamin suggested there and says.
Yeah. His hold-up play is good, and I hear a lot of pundits say he needs a bit of confidence and he needs a couple of goals, but we're nearly halfway through the season there, and he should be up to scratch and going. I mean, I know they used to say Andy Cole needed a couple of chances before he put them away, but that was in a game.
Yeah.
We're not on about a couple of goals in a whole season before he starts kicking on.
True.
That's why for me, he hasn't really took his spot that Ollie gave him. He said, I want to play up front, so Ollie gave him a chance, and he hasn't really showed it. So for me, just
true.
That's why Cavani should come in.
Yeah, the number 9 shirt to go with it as well.
Yeah.
So ultimately, do you feel like Cavani can win us the league, or is it more related to Bruno's influence that can get us to the title? Like you said, you mentioned the fact that we need a centre back, but if Cavani starts,
what worries me at the moment is we're too reliant on Bruno. If we haven't got Bruno on our team, it doesn't look good. We don't tick. I'd like to say Pogba could come on and do it, but he doesn't.
Why do you keep talking about Pogba, Tez?
Mate, you shouldn't have left me for so long, you know what I mean? If you hadn't left me so long, it would have been all out and done over that little period of time. I would be alright now.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I'm just hopeful more than anything else that listen. There was where has that comment gone about? Obviously, well, it was from what Jonathan said in terms of the leagues anyone's. I do believe that is the case. That's why I
Oh
do
yeah,
hand and heart believe that this is as good as chance as any. Obviously, Liverpool drawing against West Brom at home. You know,
the Premiership is looking like when Leicester won it.
good point,
Everybody was
good point,
poor. United were
good point.
poor. City were poor. Chelsea were poor. Tottenham did the usual thing of just like building our hopes up, and then letting us down at the last minute.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So it
yeah,
was
yeah.
obvious that was going to win it.
I think at the moment, right, where are we with this league table? Can you see that, Tez?
Yeah, man.
So yeah, in terms of form, we're joint best in terms of form. 4 wins out of last six, and 2 draws. Um, Obviously we're sitting in fourth place with a game in hand, 2 games in hand on Leicester, which we're going to make up tomorrow. One of them, to me, that was 2 points dropped. But obviously
Yep.
we've scored a lot of goals, which we were struggling with last season, but we've conceded a lot this season, which we kind of we've got it okay one way and not the other. But I'm just hoping that if we can rectify the goals leaking in, then we will score enough goals to just take us through. Now, obviously, the game against Liverpool will be a massive factor in that run. So, but I think we need to keep an. I know it sounds mad, but Aston Villa, right?
Was it 2 or 3 games over us or what?
Yeah, they've got 2 games in hand. 2 games in hand on us.
Yeah.
They've scored a decent amount of goals as well, 27. So it's not like they're people just have to just be mindful of them. I think that's all it comes down to. I think not to say look they're going to win the league or anything like that. Just be mindful that they will nick points here and there off people,
And
and
we've
I
got to
feel
play
like
him
do
New
us some
Year's Day.
favors. Yes, exactly, that's exactly it. Listen, they're high on confidence, and when you're confident, anything happens. So I do feel like we need to sort of bear that in mind as well. And to
But
your
then
point,
just looking at your the table you got up there, we've leaked
yeah,
that many goals, and we're not playing our best. I mean, people have been saying we've played poorly, and look where we still are. We could be like potentially third, second.
yeah,
That's how.
yeah,
That's
we'd be
how. That's
second.
why I say it's a. That's why I say
We'd
it's
be
a bad league.
Yeah, it is this season. And that's hence to Jonathan's point there. It is anyone's league this season. Russia says we do need a centre back, but we are short in other areas too. Backup right back, right wing, and a quality CDM. I don't think a centre back will sort out our overall problems. It will help, but not silver. Ooh, not the silver bullet. Okay, that's an interesting one. So you mentioned a key position there, Tez. You mentioned a centre back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that a centre back would sort of clear up most of our issues?
I think. I think we need a centre back that Ollie's favourite centre back, Maguire,
Yes.
is going to trust.
Yeah.
Because I've watched many games this season where goals have gone in, where it's Maguire's going for a ball that Lindelof should have,
Yeah.
and it
True.
looks like literally he's thinking Lindelof's not going to get this, so I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And they both
Great
miss it,
point. Great point. Great point.
and it's
That's a very
usually in
good
the
point.
air. And I know your views on Lindelof in the air. I know your views on Lindelof anywhere. You know what I
It's true though, but
Yeah, man.
I just feel like that's why we've got players in the squad that can complement Maguire better. I'm not saying that they're going to be the answer long term, but at least short term, I feel like we've got better players that can complement Maguire better and his sort of like misdemeanors. James says no chance of the league without 2 decent signings, someone to unlock doors, and a defender are a must in my opinion. So who? Okay, that's interesting there because suggesting almost like we need another creative player when we've got Bruno, we've got Van der Beek, Pogba, who turns up sometimes and sometimes doesn't, according to Terry. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. But I feel like I end up saying Pogba's name all the time when we're on.
He
But
bring you up,
yeah,
mate.
that's yeah. What do you reckon to that one then, in terms of 2 decent signings, one being a creative player and one sort of a defender, which we're assuming is a centre back?
Yeah, I feel like, as I said, maybe somebody to just take the reins off Fernandes. Bruno. If touch wood, he gets injured or he does need a rest, who's going to fit in that spot? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So maybe they're right. Maybe we need somebody to push him.
Who then in that attacking mold? Because the only player that comes to mind is Mr. Grealish that would maybe suit, but then he's not a bench player, is he? He's a starter potentially. So I don't know. That's why I feel like in that area it'd become very congested if we had added someone else as well. I don't know.
That's what I was
It's a good
worrying when
shout.
we was talking about getting Sancho and Grealish. I don't know. Yeah. Centre back again. I don't think we need to buy somebody. Go spend loads and loads of money on a centre back. You just need somebody that's going to make a partnership, like you said with Maguire. I mean, interesting to think when we had Vidic and Ferdinand. If you put another defender with them, would they have been as good? You took Vidic out and put somebody else in with Rio, or vice versa. It's just like them two spurred each other on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a good defensive unit, which made us good defensively.
Yeah, huge. Here's one for you, Tez. Massive Pogba agenda here. Benjamin, love that. Absolutely love that, mate. I can listen. I feel that every single time I speak to my mate here. I tell you, every time. But he'll tell you no. He'll tell you there isn't one. Okay, this takes us to our next point, and Rush has brought it up. Our transfer policy has changed. We scout players for months and months rather than buying a name. Very, very interesting there, and as I said, that's Rush Mino's brought it up. Much appreciated for that, Rushy. United, for me, if we're looking at some of the players we bought in recently and the way we brought them in terms of deal, Terry mentioned earlier there, Donny van der Beek, and we heard about his name on the Monday, and by the Sunday or the following Monday we'd signed him. Same goes for sort of like Alex Telles, that went for about a week and a half, then we signed him. Palestri's young player that we've signed. Arina Gallo, that was a need that we fulfilled. Rather than buying someone, we just went and fulfilled a need by getting him on loan. I feel like we're going to be doing the same with Ahmed Diallo as well, young player, huge potential. David Alaba, I like the fact that we're looking at signing him on a pre-contract agreement as well, possibly to playing that centre-back role next to Maguire. I just like the fact that we seem to be going away from, as Rush said there, buying names, and we're buying what's necessary or doing what's necessary at the time. For example, for me, the biggest one is Jadon Sancho, and the fact that we didn't fork out all that money for him. What Dortmund sort of asking. What's your thoughts on that then, Tez?
Yeah, I'm a bit happy that we didn't fork out all that money for Sancho.
Not saying we didn't need him or don't want him, but
I don't like the thought of being held ransom for any player, really. I think if Ali identifies who he needs or what he needs, and his scouts are going out and finding what he needs rather than who he needs, then it's working out. But then again, we still, in my view, need to get somebody that actually knows something about football. Okay. If Mr. Woodward wants to go and gets us loads of money, that's sound. He go and get the money, but don't let him spend it. He ain't got a clue.
Good point there. That's a good point. And that's why even that director of football thing that was sort of being brought on before, I wonder why that wasn't sort of addressed. That never really happened, did it?
No.
Jacko said slight echo. What's going on, Jacko? Much appreciated for joining us, bro. I'm not too sure what that is. If why that echo's coming up, my friend. Apologies for that. Here's one for us from Mitchell. Liverpool will still walk this league by 10 points. Cannot wait to play you lot. Put you back in your place. Smiley face, wink, wink. So when is that game? That game is on the 17th of January, and we're away. That's a 4:30 kickoff, I think. So yeah, that will be a very, very, very good game there. What's your thoughts on that, Ted?
We'll see.
A slightly sinister look on Ted's face then as well.
We'll just say. We'll
Okay, right. Okay. Well, what's your thoughts on our transfer policy then, Ted? Do you feel like it's changed, or is it? Where do you feel like we are?
Everything about United's changed. It has changed the way that we bring people in. Sometimes I think, what the hell's going on? Other times I think, well, that's looking towards the future. That looks quite good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the young lad we brought in, Pelistri, is it? I
yeah.
watched him in the under 23s. I watched him in the
23s,
youth
yeah.
as well. He looks kind of good. But then it's playing these guys in the first team. Are we buying them to make a good under 23 squad, or are we buying them to make a good first team squad?
Good point. Are they? So that's where I think that the age that we're buying these players at. So, for example, Lestri is 18. Um, could he have an impact on the first team? We're not rushing him through, but he could still possibly have an impact. Amad Diallo, obviously, same thing. He's 18. Not necessarily a starter in the first 11, but I'd imagine we'd see him sort of dip in and out of the first team, like i.e. the EFL Cup and whatnot. I don't know. It just depends on, it's, if he's good enough, as Alex used to
Yeah,
say. It doesn't matter about their age if they're good enough. So it'd be interesting to see what will happen in terms of our transfers going forwards, especially without a director of football and someone to sort of manage that, I should say.
yeah,
What's your thoughts on that, Tess?
yeah. That's my thoughts exactly. Ollie was a footballer. Ollie knows what's needed on the pitch. You can see with the people he's trying to bring in, what he thinks he needs to, get together to make this team. You need somebody in a in that position that has the same thoughts as him.
Yeah,
Not
good
a
point.
money maker. Not a money
Yeah,
maker.
yeah, good point.
All
Good
Ed
point there.
Woodward's looking at when he sees a player run around is a load of dollar bills.
Unfortunately, yeah. Hence, why he's rubbing his hands together with Paul Pogba, and obviously we've been linked to Paulo Dybala again. Again,
Yeah,
that's pound signs, and credit to the guy. He's obviously doing something well and good in terms of managing the money at the club, and has done. But in terms of transfers, nah, it doesn't need to get involved in that one. I agree, mate. Wayne Marco, thanks for joining us, mate. I think Cavani is a better option through the middle than Martial. With him up front, we aren't clinical. Centre half is needed desperately, and Diallo will add speed and skill to our attack. I think couldn't say fairer to that really. I think with Diallo, I think he's got that raw speed, Theo
yeah,
Walcott speed, that kind of thing, where it's just like wow. Daniel James has got that, to be fair, but he's never really had the technique to go with that, and I feel a bit sorry for him because he did do well when he first joined, but yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Really, I feel like we're just gonna we're gonna give players opportunities. That's what I will say. We're gonna give kids essentially opportunities to show out, and if we can get it done, then brilliant. If they can't,
hopefully. I
well,
did.
go on.
I did have a conversation with a friend not too long ago,
Yeah.
thinking whether Ollie has lost his battle with the youngsters.
Mm.
Because at the moment it only seems to be Greenwood that's anywhere near the team. At one point there was Brandon Williams, Garner was on the bench.
Yeah.
What's the young lad? Menge.
Teddy
He was
Mengi.
on the
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was on the
Yeah.
bench. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden
Yeah.
they've seemed to go away from the team, and he's sticking with his Lindelofs and he's sticking with his other players like that.
Well, that's why I couldn't
Um,
understand why he does. Remember when obviously Boy's not one of the youngsters, but when he had a long-term injury layoff, 10, 11 months, and he came in and faced Chelsea and was absolutely outstanding. Then we didn't see him again for ages. And then same with Axel Tuanzebe, had a massive injury long layoff. Came on started against PSG, Mbappe, Di Maria, and those guys, Neymar, and he had an absolutely
kept him in the
fantastic
back
game as
pocket.
well. I'm just like but then we don't see him again. So how does that work? What's the thought process behind that? So in terms of your opinion with Ollie bottling it, sort of the proofs in the pudding, so to speak. What's your thoughts on that then?
Yeah, as I was saying to the person I was talking about, it does look like he has, because where's Brandon Williams now?
Going on loan by the sounds of it.
What people are saying. I know I saw one of the comments that we need somebody to go on the right back. Brandon Williams can play there. He's right-footed.
That's his natural position, isn't it?
Yep.
I don't know. I know Ollie's trying to. I can get behind Ollie if he's doing something in terms of right. We're building here. This is what we're doing. This is the club's ethos. That's why I think in terms of whoever the manager is, the club should have an ethos themselves,
Yeah.
and the manager should come in to fit that, to meet and match those expectations and the ethos of the club. Where I think we've been failing is we've been right. This manager had done this elsewhere. Plug him in. He then brings in all his 10 different players that he wants to bring in. That didn't work. Bin him. This manager, he does the same thing. The club needs to have their own ethos to be able to move forward, and the managers that are brought in needs to be able to work towards that. So for me, that's where we've been kind of missing the trick, I feel. And if we are saying that's what we're doing now as a club going forwards, which is why it seemed like the transfer policy has changed, then I'm all for it. But we just, I feel like as a club and as a fan base, we do need to get behind that. But I feel like if that's what we're doing, we need to then say to the masses, yes, this is our club ethos, that's what we're going to do, and that's what any manager comes in, that's what it's going to be like as well. So I think that's crucial going forward as well. What's your thoughts on that, Tez?
My thoughts exactly. If you're going to go through, have your own ethos, have your own little conveyor belt idea, this is what we do this, we do this, then the fans need to know this is what we're doing, and you just need to stick to it, stick with it. Like I said, don't say I'm bringing through youth and then bring through youth, give us a little glimpse of them, and then we'll never see them again.
Yeah, and then you never see them again. You do. You see him on other clubs on loan, and then eventually sold off. Just a point to bring, because Diallo is from Benjamin Tunga. Diallo has mad skill too, but I don't want to put any pressure on the kid. But could he do a Martial debut 2.0, bang a goal in against them smelly scouts? Would love that. I would love that. I would absolutely love that, and that's a fantastic point for us to finish on. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Benjamin, Jocko, Rushmano, Wayne, Mitchell, the Liverpool guy as well, even you, James, McCollin, everyone that's jumped in. Much appreciated for you getting involved with the comments. As I said,
don't forget Jay, Shane. Don't forget Jay.
Jay as well.
Don't forget him.
Jay, my guy. How could I forget G, man? Nah, man. And for those of you who are still in, make sure you go in to check out Red Devil Studio G. Like I said, he does some fantastic content, very consistent with it. Love what he puts out there. So make sure you go and checking it out, subscribing as well. Tomorrow we will be. In fact, I've actually done the preview for the Wolves game, so I've got to release that in a bit. Tomorrow we'll be doing the where's it gone now? We'll be doing the Old Rivals podcast at 6:30 with myself, Cam and Ains. And hopefully Tez will join us again for that, because I was outnumbered last week. This is episode number 2. So make sure you join us for that as well. I'll be joining Flying Pig shortly on his podcast at 7. So that's why we're going to have to do one. And we shall see you in the next one. Thank you very much for joining us, Tez. Much appreciated. Hopefully with us tomorrow as well. And guys, thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.